Good morning, dear participants. Welcome to Open University Undergraduate Journalism and Public Relations course. In the previous two Sundays, that is on 17th of December, we have discussed two units, that is two lessons on what is public relations. And in unit 2, elements of public relations. And in the last Sunday, that is on 24th of December, we have covered two units, that is unit number 3 about public relations, public and public opinion. And also unit number 4, we discussed about public relations models. And today we are going to discuss two units. That is unit number 5 is about stages of public relations process. We also call these stages as steps. And unit number 6 is tools and media for the practice of public relations profession. Now, to start with, unit number 5, that is lesson number 5, 4 stages of RPCE model. RPCE is an acronym. R stands for something, P stands for something, C stands for something, and E stands for something. What are those somethings? What are those stages? What are those steps? Why public relations practitioners should adopt this universal model? What are the other models available for practicing public relations? These things we will discuss in this unit number 5. That is 4 stages or 4 steps of RPCE model. Step number 1 is research process or fact finding. This is also called as situation analysis. If you want to proceed to do anything, be it a campaign, be it a program for implementation of something, you will have to pass through these 4 stages. These are called 4 steps. That is, step number 1 is research process or fact finding. I repeat, it is also called as situation analysis. What is the situation? You first will have to understand the situation. That is called fact finding. And the research process begins at the stage number 1. That is step number 1. And step number 2 is planning and programming. Planning and programming. This is the desk work. So we have to plan something, be it a small function at your home or a program at your office. You will have to follow certain planning procedures. So the second step being planning and then programming. You have to devise the program. This stage is called program for implementation. And then the third stage is communication strategy and implementation. This is implementation stage of RPCE model. RPCE model is nothing but how you practice public relations, how you organize a campaign, whether it is advertising campaign, marketing campaign, a PR campaign, anything. If you want to execute, you will have to pass through 4 stages, and those 4 stages are called RPCE model stages or RPCE model steps. And the 4th step being evaluation and research process. This evaluation is similar to situation analysis. You do first step is you do analyze the situation and then plan and program. Then you execute it by communicating. That is called communication strategy. That is implementation stage. And then the 4th step is evaluation, where you will get feedback. You will assess what you have done. What are the results? How you implemented? That will reflect in the 4th stage. And the result you will come to know. And the impact of the program that you have implemented will be made known to the organization which implements this. So this is called RPCE model. Another model is there. We'll also discuss that. Now, Scott Cutlip and Alan Center and Glenn Broom describe public relations process in 4 steps. They have divided these 4 steps. These 4 steps have become universal stages or universal steps for practicing public relations. The first step is defining public relations problem. If you define the problem, you will come to know what exactly is the problem, and you will come to know what are the things you have to do in solving that problem. So this stage is called, you have to define the problem. If any problem is there, what people will do is how the problem has arose. What are the reasons for this problem? How these problems can be solved? What are the things that we should use? Whether we should implement, whether we should involve people, whether we should involve tools, whether we should involve anything, whether you should do some kind of research initially, analyze the situation. These are all the things. This stage is called defining public relations, usually in terms of a situation analysis or a fact finding, or what public relations call it as a SWOT. We have to assess ourselves: strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. This is a management principle. SWOT is a management principle. So we apply, because public relations is basically a management function, a strategic management function, a unique management function, a specialized management function it is. Because public relations man is also a manager. He manages things, but what he manages is he manages the public that are relevant, targeted public relevant to the organization, and he will communicate with those people only in order to communicate what he wanted to communicate on behalf of the program, and he wanted to get back the feedback what he wanted to get the feedback from the public. So therefore, public relations profession being a management function, so SWOT analysis is very much relevant and important in the practice of public relations. Another process model is Sheila, Trifai. They have developed an acronym called ROSI. ROSI is to define the five-step process, that is research, objectives, strategies, implementation, and evaluation. Another acronym, another model is also there, that is called ROPES model. Dr. Kathleen S. Kelly, he has devised this model. In this model, there are again five steps. In RPCE model, four stages, four steps. In ROSI model, it is five steps: research, objectives, strategies, implementation, and evaluation. And in this ropes model, here also there are five steps. They are called research. In any model, you have seen all the three models now. In any model, it begins with a research, the initial research, that is fact finding. That is also called a situation analysis. So research, objectives, program, evaluation, and stewardship means you have to supervise what happens after that. So in this ropes stages model, there is research, objectives, program, evaluation, and stewardship. In ROSI model, there is research, objectives, strategies, and implementation, and also evaluation. In RPC model, research, planning, communication, and evaluation. So the first and the last being the same. The first is to communicate, research, situation, analyze the situation, find the fact, and then at the end, the fourth stage is to get the feedback and the analyze the evaluate what has happened in the implementation of the program. Now, in detail, let us go into step by step, that is stage by stage. Research process, or also in other words, it is fact finding. Also, it is called situation analysis. The first step is to define the problem and why it is a problem at all. There are various kinds of problems for which PR has solutions. They're increasingly sought for because managers take off their own functions. But as far as public consent to the organization, their opinion, their impression about the organization, their acceptance or rejection of the organization's products or services or ideas, whatever it all depends upon the people because people are important. Gandhiji said, customers, whether it is customer or commuter or consumer, whatever is the name, the person who is dependent on the organization or the organizations on whose people, on which kind of people the organizations depend are called targeted public or segmented public, the required public with whom the public relations setup will have to communicate through various media. Then defining a problem, it is easy to rely on gut feeling or inference. We know what has happened, what is defined, but it has to be done somewhat systematically and some scientifically collecting some kind of evidence. Research is a means to an end. There are formative research and informative, formal, informal research methods are there. If you look at informal research techniques, those techniques are to get the information through personal contact. You will be contacting some people in order to size up people's awareness about issues and map their perceptions, their thinking, their ideas, their disposition towards the organization or its objectives. And through gatekeepers. In the earlier lesson, while dealing with public opinion, I have elaborately explained you about information leaders and information dependents. It is a two-step flow of information. Information will not come directly to the consumer, end consumer. Information will first reach from the source of the information, maybe through media, newspaper, radio, television, or any other source. It will first reach to the information leaders, and from information leaders to the information dependents. Those information leaders are also called opinion leaders. They are also called gatekeepers of information. So, in the informal research techniques, one thing is through personal contact, you will get to know some kind of information to understand the problem or to analyze the situation or in order to finding the fact. And the second technique is so second this thing is information is through gatekeepers. Gatekeepers, as I already told you, they are information leaders. Sometimes information dependent also, they will be giving you a kind of information through which you can analyze the situation. And the third channel is through mail mail analysis. Companies in the product line receive a lot of mails from their consumers. It's a kind of feedback. More often, not the mail is not a complimentary, but a periodic analysis of letters we receive, the organization receive, whatever is the mode, generally mails, or in the even in these days in the social media, if somebody is not interested, somebody has grievance, sometimes they will also write the mail and simultaneously they will put up on their Facebook walls, do some kind of tweeting against the organization or in favor of the organization. This kind of feedback also through the emails, the fact finding becomes easy. And through field reports. Organizations generally have agents, field officers, marketing officers. They are deployed everywhere, they are stationed everywhere throughout their network, marketing network. They send their periodical field reports, maybe fortnightly reports, weekly reports, or monthly reports. By those reports, the organization will feel the pulse of the consumer or customer. So this is one channel. And through focus groups are groups of people will have a peculiar, particular kind of interests. They will, if those groups are identified, supposing government wanted to know about the housing problem or the requirement of the housing by the people. The focused groups are below poverty line, homeless, people live in slums, people who actually need some kind of shelter over their head. These are all the focused groups. And these enumerators, these examiners, those who go to talk to them, get some kind of information about the requirement of the how much land is necessary, what kind of structure is needed. These are all the things. So through focus groups, also information can be gathered, and that will be useful for fact finding, situation analysis, the initial research process. And media content analysis is also one of the important areas of PR activity to scan the environment, which includes a content analysis of media reporting. So, media content analysis means every day somebody will be watching newspapers or television or radio. If something is reported, something is broadcast or telecast, in the print and electronic media about the organization, that information is gathered and the data is stored and it is analyzed. That data is how many reports are in favor of in particular month, how many reports are in favor of the organization or its products or service, how many are against. Any public representative has talked about it, or any problem or defect with the product or service itself. These are all these things can be gathered through media, provided you gather the content, you store the data and analyze it. Supposing simply in a month's period, there are so many adverse reports against this particular organizations, whether it is causing pollution, whether it is its product is defective or its product consumption is harmful to the society, whatever it is, whatever may be the reason, so and so has been reported in favor of the organization that is in favorable, that is in favor. This the content of the media is in favor. Similarly, there something will be reported against the organization. Yes, you compare them. If 90% is okay, okay, 10%, how you can correct the situation, either by addressing the problem or replacement of the product, or doing the rectifying the service which has already done, or seeking the feedback of the people aggrieved, by addressing the by redressing the grievance that can be corrected. So organizations try to be good to the people as far as possible, 100%. If there are any shortfalls and drawbacks, they will be corrected. So media content analysis is an important area of public relations practice. And then if you look at these are all the, so far we have discussed informal methods. And formal research methods are the benchmark studies, some case studies, and some communication audit scientifically. Then social audit. Social audit means the chartered accountant people or the accountants will not do the audit of the accounts. And they feel the social audit means the society as a whole, the people, the components of the society being the individuals, the citizens, they will assess whether your organization is good or not. Supposing one organization is a chemical factory in the nearby the residential area, and this organization is polluting the air, causing air pollution, simultaneously maybe groundwater pollution by discharging the untreated effluents. Naturally, the society will be talking against this organization. Why? Because the environment is being polluted, the air pollution and the groundwater water is they are being polluted. And what are the remedies? Here comes here comes the corporate social responsibility. Even if an organization is polluting and causing harm to the society, if the remedial measures are taken up by this particular organization to offset the damage caused to the society or the community around, then people will be favoring this particular organization, even though it is causing some kind of damage or causing some kind of inconvenience to the society. This audit is called social audit because society is auditing. Audit means good or bad, correct or incorrect. So the accounts audit is to see whether the postings are correct, whether the expenditure is correct, whether the allocation of funds is correct, whether overspent or underspent, what are the balances. These are all the things the audit will decide. That is up to the money matters of the concern. But as far as social audit is concerned, the organization's face in the society, the organization's image in the society, the organization's credibility in the society, the organization's goodwill in the society is audited, is told, is expressed by the society, the constituents of the society or the community around. This is because this social audit is very, very important, and more important sometimes than the auditing of accounts. Then, to be very short, public relations research on people's attitudes, image, political and social issues must address several formulations. Therefore, the initial research is important, that is fact finding, also called situation analysis. Now come to second step, that is second stage, planning and program. The first stage is research, that includes situation analysis and fact finding. The second step, that is second stage, is planning and programming, program for implementation. Now, a well planned program should have all these things. There must be a sincere effort, it must be a purposeful planning, it must be firm and positive in its approach and appeal, it should be a comprehensive one, not a loose one. and there must be a consistency. It means it is a continuous in its application. You might have seen advertisements. There is some consistency. Consistency means repeatedness. If an advertisement is made out over the radio or television today, and if you do it again after 1 week, that is not called consistency. Consistency means there must be a repeated effort. Unless you repeat that, people will not remember that. If people do not remember your product or service, people do not buy it. So therefore, the advertisements are advertised through various forms repeatedly. That is called consistency. It means there is a continuity in its application. Unless you tell the people, they will not forget. Therefore, there is a system called recall. How many people have can recall your advertisement? And that recall is directly related to the purchasing of your product or availing of your services. So, public relations is also called comprehensive marketing communication. So, public relations is called as comprehensive communication. And it has several tools like publicity, advertising, lobbying, several other things. Certain other negative things are there that is called propaganda and lobbying. Propaganda and lobbying are negative, whereas advertising, publicity, and then public affairs, these are all called the tools of practicing public relations. Now, third step, communication and strategy. First step is research, situation analysis, and fact finding. The second step is planning and programming and making out a program for implementing. This is the second step. And third step is to actual communication. This is called implementation. What is public relations to implement? It is only communication. You make out some communication message and you send it to the targeted public through some kind of medium, be it print medium or electronic medium. If electronic medium, radio or television or internet, using mails or through social media tools, applications, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, these are all the tools of communication for practice of public relations. Now, in this third step, it is about implementation of communication strategy. Experts must ensure, public relations experts who are planning must ensure. Who are all experts? Tomorrow, if you are going to become a PR manager or public relations officer or public relations in charge, department in charge, you are the expert because you have that background, you have that qualification to practice as a public relations or communication manager. So you are going to be an expert, and you are going to implement that, and you must ensure that communication strategy that's designed to achieve the following. It means it must be seen, it must be read, it must be listened. The communication which you have created, whether it is a jingle, whether it is a message, whether it is an announcement, it is a communication. That communication must be seen by the people. It should be read by the people. It should be listened by the people, and people should comprehend it. If people cannot understand that, it will be rejected. Therefore, if you observe any advertisement, whether it is in print and audio or audiovisual, radio or television or FM channel, it is very clear. The words are very concise, very short, because time constraints are there. Therefore, it must be seen if it is visual, print or television. It must be read, print, and it must be listened if it is audio visual. It must be believed. You cannot promise a plot in Moon or Mars. People are still there, but that they are called crazy. But generally, the consumers being different classes of people, low class people, below poverty line, low middle, middle, neo rich, upper middle, neo rich, and then rich people. Some products are needed by everybody. Supposing a matchstick is there, everybody needs a matchstick, even though lighters are there. So if you say that even if a matchbox is put into the water for an hour and you take out and it will burn, nobody will believe it. So if a message is designed, if a content is created for dissemination for the public, it must be believed. And it must be remembered. That's what I said. Consistency. It must be remembered, and those words must be in such a manner they should be catchy, so that people will remember easily. If you if you make out a message in such a manner that people do not understand, they will not listen to it. They will put it off. They will switch off, and they will jump to other thing. If they don't show interest in your message, they don't listen. If they don't listen, they don't remember. So the message must be remembered. It must be acted upon. After listening, it should inculcate some kind of interest in the listener, so that he will become a buyer or a consumer or a customer or a commuter of any service, whatever it is you call them. They're all generally we in public relations practice we call them as the targeted public, because you cannot give message of your organization to the entire universe. You are going to give the message of your organization only to a group of people in whom you are interested, because they are your consumers, they are your customers, not the general public. Therefore, we always say in the practice of public relations, general public is a myth. It is impossible. You always have a people, a group of people, people's community within the society, targeted, specified people, specified groups of people. Those people are divided vertically into internal public and external public. They are called your targeted public. Then fourth stage is evaluation in the research process. First, research, fact finding, and situation analysis. Second thing is planning and programming. Third thing is communication. Third stage is that is actual implementation. And the fourth step in the process RPC stages model is evaluation and research process, in order to know what are the results of the program or the campaign you have run, and what is the impact of after having spent so much of money and time in implementation in running the campaign. So because this evaluation, situation analysis in the beginning and the evaluation at the end, it helps in quantifying the public relations process. In other words, the exercise reflects whether the objectives of the campaign, the objectives of the ad campaign, the objectives of the marketing campaign, the objectives of the public service campaign, public interest message are achieved or not. For long drawn programs, it is advisable to conduct a midterm appraisal so that adjustments can be made. So generally, the situation analysis will happen at the end. But if it is a bigger plan, and if it is a long-term plan, maybe it is going for 6 months or 1 year, it is advisable that there must be some after 2 months or after 3 months. If it is a 1 year long program, communication campaign, an evaluation mechanism shall be there after 2 months, so that whether we are going in the right direction, whether communication needs to be amended, whether there is any changes to be made in the targeted public, or any other suggestions are there from the experts or from the media or from the management or from the sometimes indirectly from the rival companies. Some rival groups are there because in a business there is generally your competitors. So it will also come to know whether you are in the right direction, whether legal problems will come because you are communicating to the people, because media laws are there, they are applicable everywhere. If you have used a particular word that may hurt some kind of people may sue you. They go to the court. Some litigations may crop up. So for all these things, a midterm appraisal is also suggested in RPCE model. Now, RPC after RPC model, the another model which we have thought about is ropes model. The same thing, but universally the most accepted model is RPC model. But ROSI and ropes models are not that important. But in this ropes model, the last, after evaluation, another step has been added, that is stewardship. It means a program was run, it means a program has been implemented, we have evolved, we came to know about the results, and after that, that should not be abandoned. Somebody should take care of, somebody should continue that program and keep watching what is happening afterwards. So doing something and abandoning is not correct. Therefore, this stewardship, trusteeship, some kind of leadership under whom this program will continue. The public relations process model uses an interactive, this model, 5 step, to guide the director or in charge of public relations within the organization. If you are in charge of public relations, you'll have to observe all these things. Now, let us come to the next lesson. And I suggest you, in every faculty, in every profession, there will be uh, some kind of jargons. We call them as jargons. Jargon means only that profession will use that kind of words. Others will not use. As far as media and public relations practitioners are concerned, these words, which we specially use, others don't use, they are called jargons for others. And we, as a practice, as a necessity, we have to learn, try to understand, define these words. And they have been incorporated at the end of each lesson under the subhead glossary. And in the foregoing lesson, that is the lesson which we have discussed so far, the glossary is to research. Research. Research takes you from known to the unknowns, unknown to the knowns. Research will take you to find out what has been hidden. It is searching, researching. Research will take people from known facts to the unknown facts, and from unknown facts to the known facts. This is the simple definition of public relations. So media, what is media? This is also one of the words in glossary given here. What is media? Media is the plural of medium. Medium is a communication channel. Newspaper is a medium of communication. Radio is a medium of communication. Television is a medium of communication. Social media tool, that is what we are doing now, Google Meet or whatever it is, Zoom. This Zoom, through Zoom meeting, through Zoom apparatus app, I am communicating with you. This is also a medium of communication. This is similar to audio visual, because in television also, that is electronic medium, audio visual. Here, this Zoom also, this is audio and visual, because I'm seen and I'm listened. I'm able to, you are able to see me, at the same time you are able to listen to me. This is what is called as media. So media is plural of medium. And content analysis. What is content? Anything, any information is called content. These days, content is called the king. That is very important in the communication business. Be it media profession, be it public relations, be it management, be it education, there must be some kind of content. So content is important. Therefore, content is called the king. And media content analysis means whatever comes in the newspapers, whatever comes in the radio, whatever comes in the social media, whatever comes in the television, whatever comes in through feedback, whatever comes as a reaction, these are all called as media content. This content is to be analyzed so that we will come to know whether we are right, whether our product is right, whether our services are right, whether we can proceed, whether we can expand it, whether we can diversify the activities of the organization, whether it is acceptable to the government, whether it is acceptable to the society. All these things will be made known, or unless you do not analyze the content that has been identified in various kinds of media of communication. Evaluation is another word as a jargon. For others, it is a jargon. For but management people, media people, and public relations people, evaluation means it is ongoing, regular process of observing the things, controlling and evaluating a public relations program's objectives. Evaluate, you value it. That is called evaluation. And now come to the lesson 6, that is unit 6, tools and media. So tools and media, conventional media. Medium is singular, media is plural. Mainstream media, traditional media, conventional media, all mean the same. So what are the conventional media? What are all the mainstream media components? They are the traditional media is called, because IT new medium is there, that is second category, and social media is another category. Therefore, the media has been categorized into traditional or conventional or mainstream media into one group. In this falls the newspaper, that is print medium, and the radio and television. And the second one is IT new medium. It started with around 1994 something with the internet and email, and thereafter your website, your blogs. That is one kind of IT new medium, we call them generally. And the latest trend being with the smartphones, social media. So these are all the public relations media. What is public relations media? It is not different from any other media. The general media, which is available in the universe, which is available for everybody, they are also made use of by the public relations practitioners. Suppose newspapers, somebody will use it. Public relations practitioners also will use it. What for? For for communication of or dissemination of information, or to get the feedback. Similarly, press releases, press conferences, house journals, newsletters, brochures, open house, exhibitions, annual reports, photographs, radio, television, social media, IT new media. These are all the media, that is medium, various medium of communication used in the practice of public relations. What is public relations again? Public relations is a deliberate, planned, and sustained effort to establish and maintain mutual understanding between an organization and its publics. Why organizations need public relations? Because they need public. In the public, in the society, in the community itself, they will find their buyers, they will find their customers, they will find their consumers, they will find their shareholders, they will find their stakeholders. Because in the society, they will find their own people, their targeted people, they segregate their people. And to them only, this public relations organization, through the public relations department, will have to communicate something, whatever is the communication. That is called dissemination of information. This is again a jargon, generally giving out. For that, we call it as dissemination of information, means giving out information. So a communicator will disseminate communication. In a communication process, you might have studied in some of the papers in this course itself. There is a communicator and the communicator. There is a source, there is a destination. There is a sender, there is a receiver. All mean the same. One end, the other end. In between, there are various stages, there are various elements. Suppose communicator is there, he will communicate some information through some medium of communication to some targeted people. The targeted people in this particular thing is communicator, and the endpoint is communicating. If it is a sender of information, the information will reach the receiver. And if it is a source, from source to the destination. These are all the words we generally others will call jargons, but these are all the terminology necessary. Unless you get acquainted, unless you know the definition and meaning of these words, it is difficult for you to understand what is public relations and how do you practice as a public relations practitioner. Now, in this, let us go one by one. What is newspaper? Newspaper is a print medium of communication. Newspapers, from the days the print has been invented, printing machines have been invented. John Gutenberg, he has invented this. And even prior to that, also, there were several kinds of printing machines, but he has become a name in the printing because he has invented a printing machine in such a way in such a manner that this mission produced number of copies in less number of time. So newspapers are the first medium of communication in the print, that is conventional medium, traditional medium, mainstream communication. You know what is newspaper and what is news? Generally, people say news means north, east, west, and south because it comes from different directions. That is one kind of definition. But news is what? Only when it is reported. Many things may happen. Several things will go unreported. And the news is that only when it is reported into one kind of medium or the other. Whether if it is reported into the newspaper, it becomes a news in the newspaper. If it is reported to the radio, again, it is news from the radio. If it is reported into the television, again. If something has happened and somebody, some passerby, somebody individual reports into the social media or propagates it, it becomes news. But what is the difference between social media and mainstream media is in the mainstream media, the people who report are the trained. They have studied something and there is some kind of editing. There is some kind of law that is imposed and some kind of management in the hierarchy that the information can be controlled. What should go, what should not go. What kind of information is this? Whether it should be given out to the public or should be just leave it like that. And that part is called news value. And in social media, every citizen is a journalist. Every citizen is a journalist. Sufficient if he has a mobile phone with a camera and internet connectivity. He will create some kind of content and put it across through social media. And through the grapevine or through the network, it will go sometimes viral, sometimes it will rebut, sometimes police may intervene if the information is objectionable and against the community norms. The man can be arrested, whoever communicates this. So, broadly said, conventional media has some controls, whereas social media has no control. Therefore, IT Act has come, and therefore police will come into picture. These cyber crimes are coming up, and sometimes um, the law will take its own course because if I utter something against somebody that will attract libel or slander, defamation cases can be filed against that, against the fellow who has uttered. So all these things are there. What I mean to say is communication is the mainstream communication media, that is newspapers, radio, and television, has some control over the content or the information that is being disseminated. Whereas, whereas in case of social media, the control is lacking and some external authority, unless it restricts that particular individual, it is likely to go viral and it can cause some kind of damage to the society or the individual person or the group or the community, whatever it is. So newspaper is the news only when it is reported and it should have some kind of values that is called newsworthy. If some information is newsworthy, then only it can be reported. For example, something has happened. Somebody fell under a bicycle in Shimla and died because very remote. Many things will happen. This is called proximity principle of news. Suppose somebody dies in Hyderabad under a cycle, maybe it is news for you, but not to the people in Shimla. But something happened, a cycle accident or a small motorcycle accident, everyday accidents keep happening. Major accidents, minor accidents, everything. So news must be proximity. The yardstick is there. Proximity means how close it is. The incident, how close it is. Some kind of sensational things. They don't bother whether they are close or not. A girl has been raped in Northeast by 5 people, for example. This kind of news should not be there. That's why people say good news is no news, bad news is good news. Good news is developmental news is no news at all. It will not be carried because it will not attract. Positivity attracts less. Only negative things attract people more. So people say Good news is no news. That is developmental news. News about development, news about good things, news about government programs. Sometimes they don't, the media will not carry because media these days has been privatized. Earlier, All India Radio and only Doordarshan was there. Now newspapers are in private hands and business tycoons. Radio, of course, All India Radio is under the Government of India Ministry of Broadcasting, but there are private radios. They too have some kind of controls. And television, Doordarshan is under the Prasar Bharati, and you have several private channels. This media has been polarized. What is the meaning of polarized? Means North Pole, South Pole. Some people favoring this political party, and they belong to, they own their own news channels, their own radio channels. They report only such news that is in favor of them. So this pole, North Pole, maybe one pole and another pole. So media has been privatized, media has been polarized, and therefore people are not able to believe whether it is a news trustworthy, believable, or it is a news made out, concocted, manufactured in favor of the owners of the channel, or the who have some interest in that particular thing. So news must be proximity. News must not be stale. Supposing some accident occurred, something happened yesterday or today, if it is reported according to the speed of the radio is very speed, television if it is reported, but newsprint, it comes only in the next day morning. Suppose something happened today, it will have to go to the office. There it is reported. Then some sub-editors will do that, and heading is finalized, and some control of after sub-editor also some management principles will be there whether to carry this kind of thing. And space problem is also there. Some important news is there, and a small kind of the less important news is there. Sometimes suddenly something happens in the government, something happens in the city, so that gains importance, and this is regular news will be killed. This is called killing of the news. This is another jargon. Kill means you should not carry it out. You should not print it. You should not take it to the radio. You should not broadcast it. You should not telecast it. Killing means drop it. Killing is not actually stabbing or eliminating the person. So news will have the uh, proximity, one thing, newsworthiness, one thing, and it must be fresh like juice. News must be fresh like juice. If the juice becomes stale, it is not consumable. It cannot be consumed. You cannot drink. It becomes bitter or sour. So any juice will be fresh. News should also be fresh like juice. So these are all the simple things while dissemination of information is involved. After newspapers, what is the tool of communication is press release. Earlier, when only printing press was there, this used to be called as press release or press note. Now, press means printing press. Now, this is called media release or media note. Press release is one of the tactics or methods of newspapers through which information is transmitted to the targeted audience. It is one of the oldest and most effective public relations tool as information that is communicated through newspapers, radio, television, magazines, and other mainstream media. I again tell you, mainstream media, traditional media, conventional media are one and the same. And in this category falls newspaper, radio, and television. Then after the press release is nothing but you write something, you write in such a manner that it interests the newspaper or the medium of communication. There must be some kind of news value, must be newsworthy. Then, if it is reported to them in the proper format, they will readily accept it and they will print it in the newspaper, broadcast it to radio, telecast it in television. So, if it is not worthy, if it is not meeting the necessary requirements of to be a news, then the press release or the media release, press note or media note sent by the organization, on behalf of the organization, by the public relations practitioner, is reduced to the dustbin. Ante dustbin lo padesta. So there must be news value, newsworthiness, and it must be acceptable. It must be in the proper format without any spelling mistakes, without any grammatical mistakes. And that kind of a press release, this kind of press releases will become the major source for the newspapers to make out news. After press releases, how the press releases should look like means it should have a good headline and that attracts the attention of the people. And it should come to the point straight away, not beating about the bush. If at all anything is to be told, it should be told very straightly without mincing the words, without beating around the bush. It means there is a formula. This formula is called inverted pyramid formula. In the inverted pyramid formula, on the broader side, on the top side, you will have to answer all the five W's and one H. W, 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 W plus one H. Who, why, what, where, when. These are all the five W's and one H. How. So if the first para of your media release or press note addresses all the five W's and one H, that first para itself will tell you the entire story. The first thing is the heading, an attractive heading. By seeing the heading, the reader must understand what is the news about. And after going through the first para is also called the lead para, first para, that is on the top of inverted pyramid. So it should look like the news should take the shape of inverted pyramid. The heading should be very attractive, meaningful. Straight away, it will enter into the minds of the people. And if the people are interested, they will go to the first para that is called lead para. In the first para or lead para, all the five W's and one H should be given so that people, either if they are interested to go further to the second para, third para, fourth para till the end, or it is suffice if the first para is read, the entire thing is understood. So the news should take the shape of inverted pyramid and comply with the five W's and one H. And after coming to the points, I think include the facts and figures. No, it is not blah blah. It is not entirely sometimes a running matter. The heading, the lead with five W's, one H, and then the body should also have some kind of facts and figures so that people will believe. And that facts and figures will have the source. So and so said like this. So and so, maybe National Crimes Bureau said that this year the suicides by the farmers, suicide by the new brides, suicides by the 10th class failed students, suicides by the lovers. These are all the categories, for example, to assume. So unless you quote the source of this kind of facts and figures, the people will not believe because you are not going to give the information, but you give credit to somebody, you quote somebody and you give credit to that kind of source of information. Then avoid grammatical mistakes. If the sentence is bad, spelling mistakes, grammatical mistakes, people will not read not only what you have written, what you have communicated. The entire organization will get a bad name. And sometimes in the press releases, people will send only the organization in the name or in the letterhead. But whatever it is, you have to give the information of the public relations manager or the general manager or the CEO, his contact information, so that for further information, over and above what you have sent through the press note or the media release, they will be in a position to contact you if the contact information, preferably the mobile phone or the email ID or the landline phone. And the important thing should be kept in mind while preparing press notes or media notes, press release or media release, whatever the name you call it, it must be brief. It must be brief. And you have to write it in the third person, not you and I. And the third tool is press conference. We have seen newspapers. For newspapers, will be sending press note or media note. And press conference is also one practice of giving out information to the community or the society through the press people invited for a conference. So that is called press conference. And earlier only newspapers were there, therefore it was press conference. Now it is media conference because media includes newspaper, radio, television, and YouTubers that attend this. Now press conference. Press conference is a collective interview of media persons. A press conference is a tool. It is designed to generate hard news that is defined as news. And then how to organize a press conference. And you should tell in the press invitation saying that what is the purpose of calling the invitation, calling the press conference, and what is the venue exactly, and what is the time, who will address, and an invitation. Along with invitation, there must be some kind of background material, and it is called as press kit. When they arrive, you will be keeping the press kit ready. That press kit will contain a backgrounder, a background material, or a fact sheet, a brochure about the organization, a pen or pencil, a scribbling pad. This is called a press kit. Supposing some annual report is there, you include that. Any information about the organization, and particularly why you have called a press conference, explaining the purpose of the press conference. Supposing a new unit, a new venture, a diversification, or gaining of some benefits, large, huge profits, or some taking up one corporate social responsibility initiative or a program, or some fire accident, or some accident, some crisis situation. For everything, in order to inform the public at large, consumers, commuters, stakeholders, shareholders, everybody in the society, whoever is connected with the organization, if the organization wanted to tell something to the people concerned, there you need a press conference. And sometimes press room is also there, not only here, on the website also, a page is devoted for press room. Whatever happens, you keep on updating in the press room so that people, not only general public, people in the media profession, they will see it, gather it, and carry it. And then question and answer is very important in a press conference. You will have to prepare questions and answers, not for questions, not for the people who represent the media. It is for the sake of you and your management. You visualize questions and prepare answers and brief your management. The management fixes one spokesperson, maybe the top management itself, chairman and MD, or the chief general manager, or he will authorize some deputy general manager or joint general manager concerned, or whatever is the designation. Just for the sake of imagination, I'm telling, whoever is the official, if he is authorized as a spokesperson in the press conference that a public relations man invites, organizes, this question and answers will be prepared in advance, and you also visualize questions, supplementary questions, and these questions and answers you'll have to get approved by the management so that something, if something goes wrong, it will tell upon the organization and the top management. So that is one thing. Another thing is house journals. House journals are again divided into two. House journal is the journal like newspapers. Newspapers are printed outside, but several organizations will have a house journal. House journals are of two kinds. One is internal house journal. The other one is external house journal. Internal house journals are meant for giving information to the internal public, that is employees, whatever is the cadre, workers, workforce, everybody. And external house journal is to tell about the organization to the people outside the organization. They are external public. And house journals can be of any periodicity. They can be of weekly, they can be of fortnightly, they can be of monthly, they can be of bi-monthly or quarterly, half yearly, biannual, or annually. Okay, so annual report is also a kind of information dissemination. So these house journals that will be edited by the public relations practitioner. Of course, chief editor will be the top management, somebody at the middle management, or if you are in the middle management level, you are the editor. Public relations, editing and production of corporate literature, editing and production of corporate publications is a subject itself to be learned by the public relations manager. So, because he is in charge of corporate social responsibility, he is in charge of media relations, he is in charge of public relations, he is in charge of corporate communication, he is in charge of house journals, everything. Because wherever there is a communication from the organization to the targeted public, a public relations man or a communications manager must be there. It is his responsibility. And then editing and publishing of house journals, as I told you, is the job responsibility of. Similar to house journals, there is another tool is called that is called newsletters. House journals divided into internal and external. Generally, house journals are into several many pages, maybe 12 pages or 8 pages or 16 pages, 20 pages, something like that. But newsletter can be 1 page or 2 page. This newsletter is also a publication that is written periodically. Newsletter can be weekly or fortnightly or monthly, bi-monthly, quarterly, whatever it is. They also to be printed. These newsletters are generally meant for consumption by the internal public, that is employees, not external people. So there are several things that should be kept in while bringing out a newsletter. And then e-journal, similar to your hard copy of newsletter, e-journal, e-house journals in the website are separately circulated as PDF to the mailing list, or this newsletters also can be posted. If it is a everyday business, every day newsletter can be posted either by print or through website or the blog. Brochure. Brochure is also a print medium, a printed communication thing. So brochures are generally the largest. The handout means folder, one folder, two folds. That is called handout. But brochure is also a handout because it can be handed over. But generally, brochure is a small booklet of a minimum of 20 pages. Again, a booklet can be bigger than a brochure. Brochure will contain the information about a particular service or the entire service of the organization, entire history of the organization with its product catalog or service catalog. This is called brochure. And open house. What is open house? Open house is a house organized periodically and invite general public or the concerned public or the family members of the workers or the people's representatives, the media, the government officers, financial representatives of the banking institutions, financial the people who lend money to you, stakeholders, everybody. Open jail is not an open house. Supposing jail is kept open, not for the prisoners to move openly, that is open jail. But a jail is made into an open house means general public can come and see how the cells are there, how their food is prepared, what work they do while in jail, whether they study, whether they work, whether they sleep, whether there is any punishment, how the rooms are, how the prison cells are, what is the environment, what is there is the aeration, whether they are being treated by humans or animals, or whether the facilities are there, how the government is managing or running the prisons, jails, in order to show the people that the punishment here is not punitive but reformative. Whoever commits a mistake, it is not punitive. Earlier, the punishments used to be punitive. Now it is reformative. Only to reform the criminal, reform the people who offend, who commit crimes, who do offenses. So this is called open house. Sometimes you might have heard police station is made open house for a day, where children are taken inside, general public are taken inside to see. So the sub inspector or a station house officer sits here. This is the prison room. This is the interrogation room. This is the records. This is how police will help. They will go and detect crimes. So these are all called open house. Similarly, if it is a factory producing something, the members of the families of the workers will be invited to the open house to see what are the working conditions, what are the facilities available, for the children, for the carrying women, for the workers. Water is there, some restroom is there, dining hall is there for recreation. These are all the things kept open periodically for the people to see and convince. So these are all called open houses. And then exhibitions, exhibiting things. Exhibitions are various kinds. Exhibitions can be product exhibition, service exhibition, then a specific exhibition, and their durations will vary. Then it's some thematic exhibitions will there, because seeing is believing. If you lay out, exhibit your products, your services through brochures, people will come and see and believe. This is based on the principle of seeing and believing. And this is also a tool of public relations. Annual reports is very important. In the annual reports, the entire year's activity, its achievements, its profit, its loss, its diversifications, its advancements, its corporate social responsibility, its financial health, its social audit, everything is included in the annual report, and that itself is enough to say that. And importantly, photographs. The photographs, the albums is the job of the, if the photographer is there, okay. If the photographer is not there, somebody is engaged. It is the duty of the public relations manager. It is the duty of the corporate communications manager to maintain the photos so that they can be used in the future for printing, editing, and printing of public relations literature or corporate literature. Radio, as I told you, is a medium of communication. That is audio medium of communication. Only you can see. Television is television. It is audio-visual mode of communication. It's a mass medium of communication. It's an electronic communication. And social media, as I told you, what every citizen has become a citizen journalist, and whatever content he creates and puts across social media uh, is called social media. And you have various kinds of social media apps. And what is EPR? Electronic PR. You add E to something that becomes electronic. So this is all about the second lesson, that is tools and media for the public relations practice. With this, we have completed 6 lessons in 3 Sundays. In the next Sunday, we will deal with lesson number 7, 8, 9 together. And because only 6 Sundays have been devoted for this particular class, let us try to complete in the next 2 classes the entire portion. After that, one class will be reserved for revision and question and answer. Thank you for listening. Thanks to the university. Good day. Thank you.